For the last 200,000 years, groups of men have banded together as a means of survival and for the purpose of moving civilization forward. Men built great cities, advanced modern technology, and created economic systems that still prevail today. Unfortunately, those advancements in economic stability have created widespread levels of comfort that even the most wealthy kings in history didn't enjoy. With no great purpose or mission, most men today have accepted this comfort and in turn have become soft, weak, feminized versions of their past ancestors. These men are content with spending their days at jobs they dislike, spending time with people they can hardly tolerate, and the most fulfilling thing in their lives is watching their favorite sports teams or getting lost in their favorite video game. The men of the Unplugged Brotherhood demand more from themselves and, more importantly, from each other. Through mentally and physically challenging in-person retreats and events, these men have discovered that growth only happens when you are willing to show up, force yourself out of your comfort zone, and above all, do the work. Don't waste another day squandering your potential to be the man you were meant to be. Reject comfort, let go of people that are holding you back, and seize the opportunity to join a true brotherhood that will challenge you to become the best version of yourself.
Guys, welcome to the 49th installment of Chopping It Up. We're going to be chatting about Jimmy Kimmel, Kirk Memorial, H1b visas, Christianity. A few questions we got lined up for y'all. Let's dig into it, boys.
Yeah, let's start off a little with some softballs. Let's go with some questions, and then we'll get into the heavy stuff. Let's see here. This one's about cold approach. Lately, I've been doing some cold approach when I'm out and about. I think it's fairly low ROI, but I like to try it out when it's convenient, mainly for the challenge and to push myself to do something uncomfortable. Anyway, something I'm noticing is that it's much easier to approach women when they're by themselves, but I'm seeing that women are usually out at their tables with at least one or two other women. I haven't had the nerve to approach a small group at a table yet. How have you guys dealt with this, or have you run into this? And if so, what would you recommend? It's a tricky balance where you seem like you need to maintain interactions with all of the women at the table, even if you're only going after one. And I should add, this is doing day game time stuff, Starbucks, parks, food courts, etc.
I'll let you guys take care of this one. I want to hear your all feedback and shit.
I mean, is he not approaching women because they're with other girls?
I think it's just it's adding a layer of complexity. So I mean, there don't seem to be a lot of resources out there from what he's kind of saying. But yeah, it's harder to approach groups of women versus with one girl just like by herself reading a book or having a coffee or something like that. So he's just wondering if there are any tips.
I mean, sure, yeah, it's harder than her being on her own, but most of the time she's probably going to be with some other people, going to be out with her girls. So it's going to happen very often. Don't let it stop you though. Like you kind of just have to do it. And honestly, this is like my opinion. I think it's actually better when she's with her friends because you can give the attention to her friends and like, yeah, talk to them all. It's like you have to balance talking to them all. No, just talk to them all and then actually don't give any attention to the one you want. And maybe she's actually going to like you a little bit more because she's like, oh, why am I not getting attention from this guy? She's going to like fight for it a little bit.
It's funny. I never thought of that angle. Like, yeah, I'm the old married guy, right? But back in those days, I probably would have given maybe just a little too much attention to the one I liked, but I was pretty good at like talking to a group of girls or people in general. You have to not be awkward. That's a big starter right there. You know, like if you're nervous about it, it's going to come off that you're nervous about it and they're going to smell that and they're going to run the other way. So you kind of have to not care how it turns out.
Yeah, for me, I typically use humor. So like I'll listen and like I'll be in the background, I'll listen to some of their stuff and maybe I can chime in. Maybe they have an outfit on or something like that I can use to poke a little humor or whatnot to slip in. But just be charming. I know it's vague, but so is the situation because it all depends on what's the situation, the location, all that stuff. Be confident and just go in there with a little bit of humor. Don't take yourself too seriously because if you end up doing that, you'll become nervous. Don't just be smooth with it. I'm old school, so every single women that I do pick up is always cold approach. So I'm not one for online because they look way different than in person. Because half the time you show up, you're like, oh, you gained 30 pounds, or yeah, you look completely different. Yeah, I'm like, nah. And so, like for instance, my last girlfriend that I'm currently with, I picked her up in Walmart at the grocery store Walmart neighborhood. Picked her up, started talking to her at the cash register, and she had a bubbly personality. And then I paused just to see if she would strike the conversation back up again. And if she did, I knew she actually liked me or was interested, and she did. And so then I ended up getting her number, and then we ended up going on a date like a couple days later that weekend. So
There you guys go. Walmart pickup artistry right there for you. Right in the show. You're not going to get that anywhere else, man.
Did y'all buy some
Check out the
matching
Walmart.
Walmart scooters?
oh no,
Shit.
Mm-mm. I should have. I'm like, look, I should have pulled up next to her and then honked the little scooter horn and be like, come on, baby, I'll give you a ride to your car.
Do you have a Ooga horn?
Yeah.
Oh god. Mom,
I
wish
think this
you guys would
is.
be like,
Oh, go ahead,
coming
Rich.
to the table and be like, hey man, I'm so close to getting to that first million. I got this fucking business idea. Let's run out the flagpole and have a conversation about this thing. Always about the poon, the group of poon, the table of poon. How do I get into the girls and the dude? Are you a millionaire yet?
See, there you go. So you too focused on women.
What's got a bigger ROI? How do I open up a table of probably run through hose or make $1 million that I can turn to $2 million? I can turn to $5 million. I'm just saying.
So my response here is this is a little bit different. So there's not a lot of, I mean, it's much different when you're talking about opening like two women or a group of women at night game versus day game. Like this is not something I think day game in itself, I think is a low ROI activity. Unless you're approaching women by like that are by themselves and you're out and about doing whatever it is that you're doing. And I understand this guy's doing something because it's like hard. He's like, oh, I want to put myself into tough situations, but there's also like, there's a thin line between putting yourself in difficult situations and completely wasting your time. In the night game situation, you have women that are out presumably to get attention for men, to go have fun, to be social, to potentially go home with a guy. Like they and girls will lie and they'll say that's not what they're there for. You can ignore that, right? But with day game, it's just adds another layer of complexity. Like if a girl's meeting another girlfriend out at Starbucks to have a coffee, she's not necessarily putting herself in a situation where now if she's going out by herself for coffee or she's going out by herself to go grocery shopping or she's going like that's a little bit different because you can get groceries delivered. Like you can make coffee at your house. Like if a girl goes out into the world by herself, she's hoping that some sort of social interaction will happen. You know, when we talk to women on ladies' night every Tuesday, they're like, oh, you know, one day the guy's just going to come up and pop along. Like that's what they're hoping happens when they go out and get their Starbucks by themselves. You know, they can get Starbucks in giant K cups from the store. You can order them by like the millions. But when she's out with another woman or a couple of women, like that's just a situation where I just probably avoid it. I mean, there's certain things you can do at night game. You can talk about read the PUA books, all that kind of stuff. But like, you just don't have the same kind of excuse that, hey, I got to get back to my friends or I got to go run to this thing. You have to really spend time with both of the women. You have to give them attention and you have to ask and then you have to get a girl to give you her number in front of her other girlfriend or two, which is tough because it's like she's now going to face scrutiny from the other two or the other girl where it's like, oh, well, he only wants my number. Like, oh, like I don't want to seem like in front of my girlfriend. And it's gonna be much easier for her to reject you. So it's not something that I probably would do. I think you should probably avoid it. If you're going to open women in sets and groups, like just do it at nighttime, do it in settings that are conducive for it. I think day games should be exclusively reserved for women that are by themselves.
Well, that's why I
Also
wouldn't
make money.
do it like try to get her number with her friends there. Like when I go out, I'm social with everyone. I'm talking to everyone. So if I'm try to pull a girl from a group of girls, I'm going to talk to the entire group anyways. And I'm going to show that I can entertain all the girls, that I can get all the girls to like me. And then I'm going to be like, hey, you know what? I'm hungry. Let's go grab some food. And I'll say that to the girl I like. And if she's hungry, let's go grab some food. Okay, well, now there's a reason for us to leave. Like,
if you're gonna bring that
come up
other
with
girl
some
with you,
other
like you want to
reason.
go on a date, you want to get this chick away from her friends. You don't want to bring like her and her two friends on, and now you're paying for 3 women to go get.
Well, yeah,
like,
no, that's what I mean. You can take
but I
just
think
one girl.
that's the issue during the day. Like she's already out with one of her friends for a social interaction. She's not at a bar or at a club where that's sort of a socially acceptable situation. Like she's not going to meet her friend for coffee and then
Okay,
ditching
yeah.
her. You know what I'm saying? Like at a club or at a bar, that's fine. That's like cost of doing
Yeah.
business. Like you might get approached and some hot guy might want to take you home. Like girls kind of have that unspoken sort of contract, but it's like we're out getting coffee at 1 p.m. on a Saturday. Some dude wants to just whisk you away. That's going to be like, that's a no-no in girl world, in my opinion.
Yeah.
I just think
I
it's an
thought that this was like
unnecessary
a
layer
night
of
game
complexity.
scenario.
No, it's day. I think that's the clarifier.
Yeah,
It's a
okay.
day game thing.
If it's daytime, then it's like, yeah, totally. That's just like not going
Wasting
to
your
work
time.
out. I'm 100% with you, Moff. So
Totally.
that's where I'd come up with some reason to invite them to something in the future. Like you're not going to
For
make
sure.
anything happen right there. She's not
Get the
going to come over
Instagram,
to your place
bounce.
after coffee with her friend. So yeah,
Agreed.
exactly. Get the Instagram, leave.
Cool.
I just
All
had
right.
this topic too. It's like that girl on ladies' night that says, "Yeah, I just wish he would walk up to me at some point. Like he's going to come along at some point." She wants that from the guy that she's already attracted to. So maximizing your looks and your value will get you the higher ROI walking up to these tables with 5 girls on them. Right? That's just the way it is. That's just the way the world works. Accept it.
All right. We're going to take a mindset question. So how do you guys deal with self-doubt on the path of becoming a successful top shelf man? What I've noticed is that once you start treating yourself and other people differently, they will notice and push back. If you stand up for yourself and try to fight for what's yours, other folks that have more experience and know how to win those arguments will put you down and shame you, and it can get lonely very quickly. And the pushback tends to be very, very harsh. And along with that, the internal questions of who am I trying to fool? I'll never be as strong or rich or successful as those other guys. Those start to creep up out of nowhere as you try to leave the life you don't want anymore, but you're not exactly where you want to be yet. So dealing with the self-doubts as you're trying to put the past behind you.
How old is this guy?
I could jump in on.
I think
jump in on that.
early 40s.
Go ahead, Nick.
Well, I think the key there's a couple things. Like you're not going to be a millionaire tomorrow. So you got to take one step at a time. But the other problem is, who are you surrounding yourself with? You talk about letting go and it's, all these people dragging you down. That's just something you got to get done. There's no half-ass in that. If you have people holding you back, just let them go. Stop answering the phone. And I get it. People are addicted to their childhood friends or whatever it is. But then you got to find a group, kind of like maybe the Unplugged Brotherhood or something like it. Surround yourself with guys that are doing better. Get out there, like meet guys like that, learn from them. And as you're surrounding yourself with those guys, they're going to know you're not there yet. You don't have to BS your way through it. But I think that's the first bit I would say, but I'm going to leave it there and let the other guys have a say.
Is this guy already in the community? He needs to come to the meetups. He needs to get his ass out to Algonquin. And
SOU.
Yeah,
this is an SOU question.
Yeah, definitely. Like, if the opportunity to come out to an event is offered to you, take it. If you're in the classroom area, for the Zooms, for the online community part, then you need to talk to Moff about going up to the next tier.
Yeah, I got a little thing
that takes place, right? And like Nick said, you got to surround yourself with better people. You want to win at life, you got to surround yourself with winners. Winners just win.
Yeah, and then surround yourself around people that where you want to be is already there, and so that way you can take advice from them and follow their lead. But even better than that is just me, because I'm a knuckle dragger, ex-army dude, started from the bottom, basically enlisted. I'm stubborn as hell. If I get my mindset on something, nothing's stopping me. Like, the only person that can stop me is me. No one else. I don't care what anyone else tells me. It's just keep pushing. There's going to be failures along the way, but don't let the failure stop you. Don't let anything stop you. If you really, really want it, you won't let anything stop you. And that's the only reason why I'm as successful as I am, is because I won't let anything stop me.
Yeah, it's a question of how bad do you want it? Because if you want it bad enough, you'll find a way. If you don't want it bad enough, then you'll find an excuse.
Yep.
My first recommendation to this guy is go to the doctor, get your testosterone checked. The only guys that care about what a bunch of other people think are low testosterone men and women. So that's your first task, is to go get your damn T levels checked. I think it's a much bigger problem than people want to admit. I think that the circles that we run in, we talk about this stuff a lot. I think, Rich, I think you were one of the, now like TRT is like nomenclature. Now everybody's talking about it. It's mainstream, but you were the only guy that was talking about this stuff on YouTube like 10 years ago. Nobody was really, you and like maybe like Derek plays more dates, but now everybody's on it and everybody's talking about it and all this shit. And now you've got clinics all over the place. But I think that's when you're a high testosterone male, like, I mean, well, the science shows that you're less agreeable and you're less subject to groupthink. You're less subject to the influence of other people, especially the people that aren't doing as well as you. You're less impacted by negative opinions and people that you wouldn't trade places with. Like the people, like, this is why women are like this, because they don't have testosterone, because they can't defend themselves, because they can't forge their own path, because they get the shit kicked out of them. No fault of their own, just because they're smaller and weaker and they don't have testosterone. That's just the way that it is. So you're basically like a woman. Like, if you're worried about what people are thinking, or you're worried about constant, like, oh, hey, what are they going to think? Or what about this? It's like, it's low testosterone is probably a huge, huge part of this. 2, your response to your negative thoughts and your negative feelings, you need to essentially become Pavlovian to this. My response to somebody like this is, every time you have a negative thought, like, I'm not good enough, I don't care what time of day it is. I don't care what you're in the middle of. You need to go on a 3-mile run, or you need to drop down and do 25 push-ups or 50 push-ups. And by the first day or the end of the first week, your arms need to feel like they're falling off because you've done so many. And eventually, what you're doing is you're conditioning yourself. When I have negative feelings and when I have anxiety that creeps up, and I have these bullshit thoughts of I can't do X, I can't do Z, I can't do Y, like, now you're going to meet that with brute force, and you're going to rewire your brain chemistry to, I feel like shit again. Now it's time to work. Now it's time to perform. Now it's time to hammer on a project or go work on my fitness. Like, the worst thing that you can do as a man is sit there and ruminate about your problems and sit there and think about how bad everything is and how you're not going to be better than this person or not going to be better than that person. And the stories that you tell yourself are way worse than the stories anybody else will tell you, because you're going to actually believe the BS that you tell yourself. Unless you're really, really unless you care about what all these other people think, which is, again, potentially a side effect if you have low testosterone. But this is like a wake-up call, man. Like, you've got to get that stuff checked out, and then you need to develop an immediate response to when those thoughts and those negative feelings creep up, of just action. Just do something. Do something physical. Anything. Run, push-ups, sit-ups, pull-ups. I don't care. Go to the gym if it's 2 a.m, and you're going to get so sick of going on these 3-mile runs or doing these 50 push-up spurts that you are going to train yourself not to have those feelings anymore. And then you're going to be stronger and in better shape and be a better runner for it.
Yeah, I wanted to say something about that part too. I won't be as fit as them. I won't be as rich as them. It's a horrible mindset to have, and it's all mindset. It's literally just mindset. Like, when I first picked up Rich's book, I didn't think to myself I'd be here today beside Rich, but like, here I am now. And I didn't get to this spot because I had a mindset of, oh, I'll never be like these guys that I'm listening to.
Can I just read something that I got today, which I think is relevant to this point here? So I was in a rally this weekend, and one of the guys on the rally I'm friends with, we've done several together. on his Instagram story, one of his friends saw me on it, and then he sent this message about my book and stuff. Actually, it's all audio files. I don't want to play it. I'll just sort of summarize it. But he's basically saying over here, you know what I said? Please don't pretend. Oh, okay, hang on a second. This is the girl. Shouldn't read that. No, it's the audio file. Yeah, here. So I can't play the audio file, but he's basically like, I did what he said, and I got what he said I was going to get by doing it, essentially, with women, with life, with money, like the better experiences that you have with chicks, you know, when you fully unplugged. This is the point of the next book coming out next month, guys. The guys at the forum that are going to be there next month, they get a copy in advance. It's going to be on Amazon in November. I'll be talking about it more on the TUA sort of stuff, but life, the art of life and being on the top shelf and what that's like. Great. Like it's good to ask the questions, but start doing the damn work. Like I wrote the first book, and two things there that I didn't hear in his story was I go to a fight gym. I'm into combat sports. I test myself. I fucking ride motorcycle. I play chess like something. You know what I mean? Life ain't that hard if you're fucking way harder on yourself. And that's the truth, man. Fuck all that shit that people told you your entire life. Oh, you're fine just the way you are, or don't worry about it, or, you know, she'll just come along when the time's right and all that sort of shit. That's not going to get you anything. Nothing. You have to be hard on yourself, guys. The world is so much easier on you when you're fucking hard on yourself. I hate to say it. I wish that everything they told you was true. Just be yourself. You got to be hard on yourself. You got to test yourself. You got to do difficult things. Don't be a bitch. Get on with it, man. Anyway, moving on. You're muted.
Oops. We're going
There you
to
go.
read one more, but this is not a question. The other ones, again, had more to do with mindset. We pretty much covered it because they were very similar. But I wanted to read a success story to change it up a little bit, and then we can dive into some of these other topics. So, Cher, I'm finally seeing what GBD looks like. So, I went to one of the meetups in Tampa and made sure I spent some time with TC, who is not here this evening, unfortunately. But and I asked a lot of questions. I sat in the room with 10 other guys, and I mostly just listened. After that, I noticed some things that I didn't like in my LTR, and I kept pushing my agenda. The shit test kept coming, and eventually she self-selected her way out. I went on 7 or 8 dates, failed miserably, came off like an asshole, and then I came back to this group for some feedback and took it to heart. I finally went out with someone who quickly showed she would do whatever I wanted. A solid 7 who moved around her schedule to accommodate me multiple times, wants to cook for me, pick things up for me and from the store, took my dog when I needed some help, and is already asking if she's allowed to do things with her girlfriends. I had conversations with her about how only 2% of the male population since the caveman days have been able to reproduce, while 90% of women did. What does that tell you? I told her logic behind guys being non-monogamous while girls should be, and she was curious, accepting of my worldview, and even telling me, oh, that makes sense, and I never thought about it in that way. I told her that Jake, who also isn't here, is going to work with her and get her in better physical shape, and she's very eager to, quote unquote, do whatever I tell her to do. A few things I had to make sure I did right, not get attached, excited, hopeful, dependent on the outcome. Ironically, she can sense that, and it causes her to want me more. For now, she's still a plate, but she's showing a lot of promise, and if she's gone next week, fine, on to the next. The main point is, without spending time with the guys in this group, asking questions and sharing my failures, I wouldn't have navigated this situation as well. I still see opportunities for me to improve, and if this plate doesn't last, it's fine because I have a lot more confidence in the whole process because I know that it works. Experience it for myself makes it real, not because of what I've heard, but by swinging for the fences and seeing that it can be done. Join the calls, watch the replays, ask the questions, fail, try again, succeed. Pretty much nailed it. That's exactly what we're talking about. When we tell guys to put up shots, all of this rumination, all of this BS, this is a guy that's been very successful, who's come, who's asked the questions, who's gotten the feedback, applied it, and now he's winning. It really is that simple, but there's so few guys that will actually do it. And it's like, since I've done this, since I've been doing this, since I've been working on this stuff with, you know, Rich, maybe you can echo on me. I mean, I've not found a guy ever who's come to me and said, I did everything you guys told me to do. I went out, got jacked, become an entrepreneur, made a bunch of money, took leadership to heart, did all of these things, dated non-monogamously, spun plates, got good with women, learned all the material, and my life is worse off now than it ever has been. It's worse off now than it was that it's been before.
I've
It's
talked to
literally never
thousands of guys. I've never heard that story.
Never once. Never once. So I don't know what that's, what that tells you guys at home watching, but you got nothing to lose. I think
Do
that's the thing. It's like you've got nothing to lose by doing it.
work.
Yep.
There you go.
On the fucking wall. It's the motto. You've heard us say it.
All right. So why don't we
Let's do the topics in the title. Like, what's the story with Jimmy Kimmel, man? Like, he got canceled for saying mean shit, and he lost his job, or he went on suspension.
Yeah, I'll put it up really quickly. So I'm gonna share the
All right,
screen.
let's check it out.
We'll just show it. Like, there's gonna be some clips we're gonna show here. I got them some of them queued up. So Jimmy Kimmel was,
Didn't Jimmy Kimmel used to do the Man Show?
Yep.
Yes, that's kind of
Like,
how
that
he
was a
got
cool
started.
show back in the day.
Yes,
was.
that's how he got started. Can you guys hear the audio on this?
He had some new lows over the weekend with
Yes,
the gang desperately trying to characterize this kid who murdered Charlie Kirk as anything other than one of them, and doing everything they can to score political points from it. In between the finger pointing, there was grieving. On Friday, the White House flew the flags at half staff, which got some criticism. But on a human level, you can see how hard the president is taking this.
My condolences on the loss of your friend Charlie Kirk. May I ask, sir, personally, how are you holding up over the last day and a half, sir?
I think very good. And by the way, right there, you see all the trucks? They just started construction of the new ballroom for the White House, which is something they've been trying to get, as you know, for about 150 years. And it's going to be a beauty.
Yes. He's at the fourth stage of grief, construction.
So we can pause it there. But the idea is that
He's kind of right about that point.
Well, but there are more clear. So, but the point is that he basically said he's furthering the entire left side for whatever reason, because there was a photo that got doctored of the guy wearing a Trump shirt because he came from a Trump family. The entire sort of narrative on the left is that this kid was a MAGA conservative. So Jimmy Kimmel gets on in front of, and the ratings started coming out, and he's got an audience of less than 150,000, which is hilarious for a late night show. Oh, it's terrible. Like, his ratings are in the toilet. So his ratings are in the toilet. And he basically is saying, against all of the available evidence that we have from pretty much every mainstream and independent news source, that this guy was a furry, a trans sympathizer, basically was playing like trans furry video, like sexual video games.
Banging a trans, like his
banging a
boyfriend,
trans,
girlfriend,
right? Like
trans.
getting trooned out. And he goes on this TV show and says this guy was MAGA. So there's this sort of now conspiracy going around that the head of the FCC basically is canceling Charlie Kirk over a joke or over this, and it's censorship, or that the Trump administration pressured the FCC, who then pressured ABC to pull Jimmy Kimmel and cancel his show. It has now come out through other independent reporting that ABC had a conversation with Jimmy and said, hey, you were wrong about this. You were on the wrong side of it. This was an overstep. We need you to correct this. And Jimmy Kimmel basically said, no, I'm going to double down on this. I'm going to go even harder. And that's when ABC decided to pull him. He's actually since in the last few hours been reinstated since I made this title. So he's no longer canceled, and he'll return either this Tuesday or next Tuesday. I guess next Tuesday, most likely. But he'll be back on the airwaves and back on the air. So, but it's just this idea that, he was pulled off air, and now they're saying, well, this is censorship, and this is, you guys don't like it when you lose your jobs for speech, but now you're canceling Jimmy over speech. And it's just like leftists are talking out of both sides of their mouth. The people that were saying when Roseanne Barr lost her show, 7 or 8 years ago because of what she was saying about, I think, the Iran conflict, she got pulled and she got canceled. And those same people are saying, hey, business decision, you go and say whatever you want. You're not protected. Just because you have free speech doesn't mean that the company you work for has to give you a platform. And those same people are saying that, there's cancel culture and it's a witch hunt for Jimmy Kimmel. So, but apparently he's going to be back on the air. So time is a flat circle, it seems.
You know, it's interesting. It really is interesting because I swing at all sides, right? Not just left, not right, whatever. Like I'll swing at anything that looks like it's in need of a shot, if I can put it that way. They shouldn't have fucking suspended him. I mean, if you're gonna have a show, then say what you got to say. If your opinion sucks, let it suck. You know, the court of public opinion can judge it as it sees fit. It was a shitty opinion, by the way, but
I think money was
yeah,
part
go
of the
ahead, Nick.
issue. I think his ratings have fallen 70 to 80% in the last.
well, they're
9
going to
years.
go up now that he's been all over the media for this stunt.
It's
I doubt
he'll
it.
get a pop, but in the
That's
end,
why they're
he's
letting
not.
him back on. They want to say, all right, let's see you take another stab at it, buddy. Let's see what you got.
It's basically free
Get us some eyeballs.
advertising. It might have even been planned from the start. Who knows? But
Could be.
his ratings suck. He's
I
like.
mean, speaking of bad takes, and where is this guy over here? I got him up on one of these cues over here. I'm going to throw it up on the screen because this is kind of relevant. I mean, I don't like this guy. He's a real knob. And I don't understand why his fucking lower jaw swings left and right like that when he talks.
For years, which is why I don't give.
But he's always got the worst takes.
Conservatives have been disgusting for years, which is why I don't give a fuck about anybody that winds up at any of these rallies and gets shot or whatever the fuck, okay? Because they had no problem making fun of Paul Pelosi. The entire world would be better off if these people were permanently removed from these platforms. Like, there is no downside and only upside to see people like Candace Owens, Tucker Carlson, Tim Pool never be allowed to publicly broadcast their opinions ever again. It's exclusively bad stuff that happens.
Like, everything this knob says is just absolutely retarded. It's just like, but it's the same sort of thing. This guy is a publicity stunt. That's why he gets platformed, because they know what they're going to get from him, right? Kimmel's trying to do the same thing. He's just not as successful as this homosexual knob over here with a swinging lower jaw.
But there's a difference between opinion and then coming on and trying to blatantly lie about the facts of the case. Like, it's like what Jimmy did is he basically got on stage. It would have been if he said Irina Zarutska was stabbed by a white man on the train. Like, that's the equivalent. Completely factually incorrect, right? So that's
he still shouldn't have gotten suspended
issue.
for it, though.
Well, I mean, I guess that's.
if we want to be able to say whatever the fuck we want to say here on this show, it should apply for Jimmy Kimmel too.
But
there's
a difference between opinion and lying and actually spreading nonsense and spreading.
He's an idiot. I think most people saw that. I mean, the people with a brain that can think looked at him and be like, the guy's a fucking idiot. I mean, clearly he doesn't know what he's talking about, and it's just trying to push some retarded stuff for dumb people. Let the dumb people believe what they're going to believe.
I always have
Nick, you had something.
Oh yeah, go ahead, Nick.
Well, I mean, a couple things. Again, I think it comes down to money. I think that what he said probably was going to lose them a lot of money, and so they fired him.
Yeah.
I mean, we're in the world of social media. I've been a business owner since 2016, 2017. But even back in those days, if I were to go online and say, F all the N-words, like, I'm going to get fired. If you can say whatever you want, it's not going to protect you from getting fired. But at the same time, there's a line that you cross when you let somebody go because, they called someone a fag 20 years ago online. Like, so, no, there is a point where firing somebody is appropriate for the business model, and an employer has the right to fire their employee. I don't want to get stuck in a situation where I have an employee running through my business naked and then I can't fire him because the First Amendment, right? Like, there is a balance to be looked at. And the last thing I'll say is that all the leftists who are complaining about freedom of speech, nobody takes you seriously. Fuck you. Excuse my language. I'm done.
Well, and the worst part about and here's this is the issue, right? Because this is the same guy who got on air a couple of years ago, and I'm going to run this other clip, who was demonizing and talking about people who didn't take the vaccine.
It was not a fun Labor Day weekend COVID-wise. The number of new cases is up more than 300% from a year ago. Dr. Fauci said that if hospitals get any more overcrowded, they're going to have to make some very tough choices about who gets an ICU bed. That choice doesn't seem so tough to make. Vaccinated person having a heart attack? Yes, come right on in. We'll take care of you. Unvaccinated guy who gobbled horse goo. Rest in peace, Wheezy. We still got a lot of pandimwits out there. People are still taking this ivermectin. This poison, the poison control centers have seen this spike in calls from people taking this livestock medicine to fight the coronavirus. But they won't take the vaccine, which is crazy. It's like if you're a vegan and you're like, no, I don't want a hamburger. Give me that can of Alpo instead.
This guy's retarded, man. I take ivermectin twice a year to clean out fucking shit in my body, man.
But again, these are the people that are saying, "Oh, it's cancel
retarded.
culture, this and that." He's got an entire cast and crew of comedians and actors and all these people that are signing this thing, saying we stand with Jimmy and this and that and the other. So again, we're just highlighting the fact that your favorite talk show hosts, the people that represent the movies and the TV shows that you watch, your actors, your musicians, the people that you look up to. Funny enough, what seems to be the case is that athletes, seem to be very undercover conservative and very more on the right, far more than actors and people that are in the public light. Well, and they've got, money and they want to protect the money they make. And I think like Charlie Kirk was talking about before he died, he's like, he's gotten DMs from burner accounts of like dozens of athletes that are like, hey man, I love your stuff. Like I can't take a stand on this because we have like this whole end racism, it takes all of us campaign or whatever that the NFL sponsors. You had one guy that was an NFL, I don't know if he was a fullback or a linebacker or something like that. He just joined the UFC and he was like, yeah, I'm glad to be part of an actual real, masculine organization, not like the woke NFL or whatever, snowflake shit. But in any case, that's, so he's been restored, but that's been the bickering back and forth about, cancel culture and speech and all that sort of stuff. So that's where we're at with that.
All right. So we got,
Al, before we move on, hold on. Al, did you have something else on that?
Yeah, it's just something real simple and quick. So I don't afford anyone something they don't afford me. For instance, I will never fight for someone else's beliefs that would never fight for mine. And for example is, let's say I get in a fight, right? The guy that wants to fight me is like, you can only use knives, but I get to use swords. I get to use swords. I get to use AK-47. I get to use automatic weapons, but you can't. And then they use that against me. For instance, like freedom of speech or the Second Amendment. So like guys are like, ooh, you shouldn't have to have a rifle, but these be the same people that go around shooting people. I'm like, no. I was like, if you don't believe I should be able to talk and have the right to talk without violence happening to me, then you're not afforded the same thing. So I'm not gonna tie my hands behind my back and fight you. This is not how that's gonna work.
Absolutely. Okay, what else we got here? Charlie Kirk's memorial service took place over this weekend. Extremely significant. There's people who are divided on it, of course, as always. I think the thing that caught my eye the most and that struck a chord is that there's never been a bigger memorial / funeral service for a private citizen, never in the history of the world. This is bigger than JFK. This is bigger than MLK. This is the single biggest memorial of a private citizen that has ever taken place. It was in where the Arizona Cardinals play in Glendale, basically sold out the entire stadium. They had a handful of counter protesters, but nothing of note. And, you had everybody from Trump and Elon who seemed to maybe be patching up their issues that were there in attendance. You had Tucker Carlson. You had obviously Eric Kirk. You had members from, Trump's cabinet. You had J.D. Vance. And there was like a 3-hour service. And some of the speeches were, I didn't watch all of it. Like, we're not going to review any clips. We're not going to go over that. If you guys want to watch it, you guys can go find them on like YouTube or Twitter or whatever. But I think the big common theme was that there seems to be a desire from the right to return to sort of Christian nationalism and bringing that to the forefront. Obviously, Charlie Kirk was heavily religious. And you guys heard this. There's some certain comments obviously made by like Trump, for example, that were, Charlie. And I think the common sentiment is that Charlie was the best of us, as a lot of people were saying. He was the moderate. He was the one on, as close to the middle as you could possibly be. A guy that says, I don't see race. I want the best for everybody. I don't hate any of my enemies. And Trump got on there, and Trump is going to be Trump. He's like, yeah, that's the one thing I disagree with Charlie on. Like, I hate my opponent. I hate my enemies. Like, I want to crush them. I want to feel, their breath leaving their body underneath my boot.
He's always been that way, though. He talks
very
about
on
that in
brand.
every single one of his books.
Yeah. And it's very on brand. Like, and I think that's been, even in that moment, like, he's not going to change who he is. So it was very impressive. A lot of showmanship, I would say. I think there's some people that may be divided on that. I mean, there's fireworks and people were coming out like it was WrestleMania, like it was WWE. They had the ticker.
Put it up on the screen for you.
Yeah, they had the ticker on the bottom talking about TPUSA and things like that, which, that was when Erica came out to give her speech. And I think the highlight from her speech is that she basically said, I forgive this guy. I forgive the killer. I forgive this man, the turning the other cheek, which personally, I understand when they're coming from this idea of Christianity and forgiveness and that sort of thing. But it's where I'm divided on when it comes to a lot of this. Now, I will say, like, it's been no secret. I have not been shy talking about my non-belief that I'm not a Christian. I'm non-religious. I consider myself an atheist. But I think what I've realized probably in the last few months is that I used to be this guy that thought, hey guys, we don't need religion. We can be good on our own. We don't need to derive morality from some other source. Like, morality comes from our willingness and desire to get along, to coexist, to evolve and move society forward. But that all comes from people all buying into that notion that we can and should move society forward, that it's better for all, which it seems to be no longer the case. So while I don't think that Christianity or religion has its place as far of I don't personally contend that it's empirically true. It can be backed by evidence, but I'm starting to get more and more close to the line of it's absolutely necessary to combat spread of other extremely harmful religions, and also to give people some sort of moral compass that they don't have otherwise.
So do you guys think that the fireworks are a little overboard for a memorial?
Yeah, I'm gonna go with that.
Yeah, it's not WWF.
Now, I have a slightly different take when wrongdoings occur. Maybe I'm a pagan, I don't know. But I'm going through the book, The Red Queen, right now. In fact, while I was doing a lot of my driving over the weekend, I was listening to it. It's a pretty good book, especially the second half. It gets really good. But dude talks about how, like, Chinese emperors, if you wronged a part of his life, like if you touched one of his concubines, because he'd have thousands of concubines guarded by eunuchs, by the way, and there would be a fucking management team that would schedule in the concubines that were in estrus so that he could impregnate them all and have as many children as possible. If you touched one of his concubines, he would end you, your family, your siblings, your llama, your fucking chickens, everything, anything around you, if they were wronged. But in the modern day, it's like, oh, I mean, somebody rapes your daughter, kills, your spouse or something like that. You're going to go on fucking vigilante hunts, man. You're not going to be like, oh, well, I forgive him. What kind of pussy ass shit is that? That's just me, maybe. I don't know.
Shooting Texas,
call me a pagan if you want.
I think in Texas, if you catch, what is it? I think it's still a law here. If you you walk in and say your daughter's getting raped or whatnot, and you see it, you can kill the guy, and you're good to go.
See, that's a good law.
Go to town.
That's a good law.
Go to town.
Anyway,
Well, yeah, they had a guy in
a
Russia.
little bit over the top of the production too, right?
Nick, go ahead.
They had a guy in Russia whose daughter was raped, and they found the offender dead in a ditch, stabbed like 37 times. And they said, "Oh, I guess he fell on his knife 37 times."
That's what they call
That's what the cops.
retribution.
Yeah, it's just.
Country justice.
Side note: Sinclair, which I believe is the largest broadcaster or syndication of the Jimmy Kimmel show, will not be airing. Jimmy Kimmel, they have put out an official message beginning Tuesday night. Sinclair will be preempting Jimmy Kimmel Live, and they're saying they'll just put news on instead. And, until they can think about whether or not it's going to make them any money, which further buttresses my argument that a lot of it's about money.
Well, woke doesn't really pay, right? Because people that are woke, they don't really have money. What are you going to sell them? They're on government assistance mostly, or they don't work.
It actually used to pay. So 5 years ago,
Or
4
they're
years
making their
ago,
coffee at Starbucks,
yeah, they were doing the ESG thing. So all these mega businesses would get preferential lending standards, basically being given free money as long as they towed the line and had the right people in management, the blue hairs, and said all the things. And that money all dried up. So woke used to pay, but that was a poison pill. So these companies all went so far left because they were given money to do it, millions and millions and billions of dollars. And then they lost all their conservative viewership, and that money has dried up now. So that's what you get.
Well, this is a direct result, and this is what happens when you have women in power that vote for everybody to be included, women will vote for migrants to come in that will kill them, right? Women, especially single women. And this is another reason why I think men and women need to be together and not be apart, because single women overwhelmingly vote for liberal policies that are soft on crime, that are soft on punishment, that are, and believe me, we've got the crimes of the week segment just for you guys out there. Thought we forgot about that. We got two I'm going to talk about, but soft on crime, releasing criminals back onto the street, especially ones that are crimes or that are especially violent crimes against women and that are predisposed to have violent crimes and urges and lack of impulse control against women, because women say like, oh, well, everybody's the same. And it's all of this. And it's like, me and Spence talked about this before. And I think I might've mentioned this on another show maybe. And, I had a conversation with the woman on Ladies Night 2 weeks ago, and I think this rubbed her the wrong way. And I'm cool with it because I understand that it's the cost of doing business. And I said something along the lines of, we started talking about danger and the dangers that are that women face, and that it's useful and helpful to arm yourselves with the knowledge of the types of people that are most likely to do you some sort of harm, so you can avoid those situations and avoid those people. And the idea that a lot of women have is women love to talk about the idea of possibility, and they love to focus on possibility and not probability. And this has everything to do when it comes to my man is out there and I just know that he is, even though it's highly unlikely, there's still a chance, right? Like you're saying, there's a chance. The same thing applies to when we talk about crime and criminals and the dangers out there. Women say, well, in their brain, a lot of them will say, well, you're just as likely, like women can get attacked when they go to the grocery store. They can get attacked in a club. They can get attacked in a bar. They can get attacked in here. So, like, what do you expect women to do? Live under lock and key? It's like, no. The idea that you're honestly sitting here saying that that no matter where you go, you're going to be under the same threat of danger is patently absurd, and it's patently false. And it's also dangerous because that's the exact type of conversation and rhetoric that will get women killed, by saying no matter where you go, you have the same likelihood of being attacked or having something bad happen to you. So just go and live your life, girl, is purely asinine and very stupid advice. And this is the problem. Because women are just like, oh, because they're not in the situation where they have to be faced with the reality of violence and the use of force to get things done. And because they're not the ones that are tasked with defending the house or defending themselves, because guess what? The women that get put in those situations don't live to tell the tale. The women that get attacked and the women that get assaulted on trains and buses and in clubs, in the back of subway cars and in alleys, they can't defend themselves and they end up dead. So they don't have any ability to tell women, hey, I was attacked by XYZ, so you should probably look out for these sort of people. They don't get to live to tell the tale. So this is the point. Like, there was a popular tweet by, I think, Riley Gaines, who was like, the punishment for the guy that killed Charlie Kirk is we should put him in a room and have him have to listen to Charlie Kirk's speeches on a 24-hour loop. It's like, nope, we should literally hang him in the town square immediately, or death by firing squad.
Sure.
Like, women don't have the stomach or the ability to do what is necessary and to put actual deterrence in place that will dissuade people from doing this in the future. And that's the real problem. That's the real issue, is when you put these women in positions of power and you prop them up and then you ask them to do what needs to be done, they just can't do it. And it's not a knock against them. It's just not in their nature because they haven't evolved to have to do it. And that's just purely where we're at. So either repeal the 19th Amendment or pair women up with Republican or right-leaning or conservative men as much as we possibly can. That's the only way we're going to fix this country. Not that I care about fixing it, just so we're clear.
Are you on the enjoy the decline path now, Moff, or are you?
I'm in the build the tribe. I'm in the build the tribe camp, man. I always have been. I mean, look, this is about the guys that are watching this and the guys that follow us and people that may not follow us, understanding like there's millions of guys out there, right? This is why we do what we do. We are saying this stuff out loud. We say this because they can't. We say this because we know that they are afraid of saying what they really think and reposting the things they really want to repost and fighting the good fight that they want to fight because they're worried about social ostracization, or they're worried about family cutting them off, or they're worried about being fired from a job simply from holding a political view and a political opinion. And that's exactly why Turning Point USA garnered such a head of steam, because these college-aged men looked around and said, I'm surrounded by liberal furries and people and dudes that think they're chicks and vice versa. And this guy, Charlie Kirk, was like, actually, no, we're out here and we're in strong numbers. And there are people like you. Come to the right side, come to where you are welcome and where conversation can actually be had without all the noise. That's why we have the School of Unplugging. It's why we have the Unplugged Brotherhood. It's why we have all of these communities that we're building. It's why we do this show. So I'm not sitting here saying, hey guys, like, let's save the West. Like, let's get on our soapbox and bring everybody together. I'm saying, hey man, if you're listening to this and you are in a place where you feel stuck and you have nobody to talk to and all of your friends are fat, dorky losers who get their shows run by their wife and they have to hate Trump because their fat wife hates Trump, you don't have to surround yourself with those people anymore. Come to the right side, brother. That's what I'm talking about. That's why we do this show.
H1b visas. What's the deal with that? Sounds like an American thing.
It is.
It is. Al, do you want to take this one, or you want me to go ahead and you fill in?
I'll go ahead and take it. So
Please.
H1b visas is just a type of work permit visa that brings skilled labor, highly skilled labor, in air quotes. I will use that for basically trying to bring the best and brightest. That's what they always tell you. But basically what ends up happening is they bring in a lot of low skilled labor, these businesses, and because they can pay these guys subpar to get the same quality work. And a lot of these people come from India. Go figure. And so what Trump did, he decided to put on $100,000 a year fee, basically, or tax, whatever you want to call it, to bring that person in. So when you originally bring them in, you have to pay the $100,000 plus their wage. And then after that year, you have to renew that visa every year for $100,000. So, and the reason why they went this way is to actually, so if you really was saying you're bringing the best and brightest, you will pay that money to keep them there. The company will.
Sounds fair.
Yep. And it weeds out all the replacement workers is what I like to call them. And being in Texas, you see a lot of it. So you see a lot of these guys taking it.
there's a couple of corrections and caveats to that. So the H1B specifically is actually for skilled labor. So these are it's generally reserved for workers that are in like STEM, like science, technology, engineering, math, and these guys are coming over working for SaaS companies, and it's like 3 out of 4 of H1B visa holders are Indian. So there's a large swath of Indians that are coming into the U.S. And so everybody was cheering for this, right? Everybody was saying it used to be the H1B was somewhere like, depending on certain factors, it was either like 2,000 to 5,000 originally. Yes, Trump bumped it up to 1,000. And this is what pissed a lot of people off. When he announced this live on, from the Oval Office, it was 100K per year. And now all of a sudden the press secretary comes out and says, oh, no, no, no. Not only is this going to be a one-time fee, it's not going to be per year. It's a one-time fee. Now it's not going to include any visa holders that are already in the U.S. So there's speculation that Trump basically got the administration got his head squeezed by these big tech companies who rely a lot on this labor and this Indian workforce, that they don't want to have to pay this money. So instead of the 100K per year, now it seems like it's only going to be a one-time fee. So this just seems to be another example. Look, I've never said Trump is our guy. I've never said I'm a hardcore Trumper, that I agree with everything he's doing. I think he's got some bonehead takes. I think that I'm more of a fan of the way he carries himself and the way that he goes along with this stuff. But this is another example of sort of like blue balling the American right, if I can use a term, where it's like, oh, we get really jacked up and excited. We're like, man, finally something's being done about this. And all of a sudden, oh yeah, it's not what we thought. Right. So I think I'm still waiting to be impressed, I should say. There's a lot of talk and jabber about Ilhan Omar being deported and all this sort of stuff and all these things that people are calling for and the American people want. But it just seems like we're getting a lot more of what we've always gotten with Trump, like a lot of promises, a lot of hot air, and a lot of things we want. And then all of a sudden they're being sort of backed away from at the last minute. So that's the latest when it comes to that. It went from being 2 to 5,000 to 100,000. Originally was pushed that it was going to be every single year, and that these companies were going to have to shell out hundreds of thousands of dollars for these workers. But now it's only applying to new visa holders, not old visa holders. So basically the companies, nothing is basically changing unless they want to ship more of them in. And there's already, I think the limit they said was like 65,000 or so, but that's a lot of tech jobs when you talk about the US, and a lot of people that are skilled workers, hardworking, skilled, degree holding Americans that are out of jobs because foreigners are coming over and they're taking them. And this is not like stocking shelves. This is like engineering, and this is IT.
You know what they do in Canada? They hire them all and they put them at Tim Hortons. Like the big joke now in Canada is that it's called Sing Hortons.
I like that.
Yeah.
Trademark that.
I've also heard that a lot of the credentials are faked, and these guys are actually not qualified for the high level jobs. Yeah.
Yeah, it's a scam that India runs a lot, is that they fake the degrees from the colleges, and it's a big scam to get the H1B visas to come over. That's why I was saying, like, they're actually low skill and they're just coming over.
Okay.
So yeah, and you see it here in, like I said, you see it here in Texas a lot. I forgot, I think it was last year. It was sometime last year, and there were a bunch of illegals, and these were illegal Indians as well, where they were in a tech company that was here in Texas, and the ICE agents busted it. It was like, I forgot how many hundreds of people. I don't quote me on this. There's a few hundred people that got busted that were just illegals, and they're like, nope, ship them back.
Is it actually 3/4 of the visas are Indian?
That's what I heard.
Actual stats.
3 out of 4. The 3 out of 4 H1B visa holders are Indians.
Yep. They have a lot of advocacy groups for stuff like that. Like you'll see ads here in Canada that advertise from an Indian directly to an Indian about how to get your family to Canada and how to use all of the social programs.
It's the same in Texas. I've seen it, and because I know a lot of the guys, they work at gas stations and stuff, and they run a lot of the gas stations. And when one of them gets here, then they start advocating for the others how to get here and their families, and then their families' and all that stuff like that.
Yeah.
Well, even with it going from 100. It's $100,000, right? One time.
annually.
Yeah. So even with it going from per year to one-time payment, it's having an effect. I'm seeing tech companies, because I'm looking at what are the options of going from Canada to the US right now, and I'm seeing tech companies shut the doors on H1B visas entirely.
Well, it's because well, when you say entirely, I mean, is it new? Because it's not applying to already H1B visa holders. It's only applying to new applicants.
Yeah,
That's been the thing.
new applicants.
Yeah,
That's what I mean.
but it's like there's already so
shutting
damn
the
many of them.
doors
It's
to
like,
it
yeah,
entirely on
fair.
anyone new coming in.
It's a start, but it's not enough. Send them all back. That's what I say. Send them all back. They're going back.
I mean, the H1B visa is going to you have to renew that. I think it's like a 3-year max. I don't remember exactly how long it is, but that is a problem that would solve itself in 3 years.
Well,
do you guys all know who
the White House
Cherry is?
I know the name.
Do you guys know who Don Cherry is? Nick, Alan? He got fired a couple years ago. Actually, around this time, it was around Remembrance Day, because he said something. He was a hockey coach. He's a big name. Like, you can't miss the guy's face if you ever see him. He's always really well dressed, and he was pissed off because immigrants weren't buying poppies, and he said something to the effect of like, you people come here and you get all this freedom, and you like our milk and you like our honey and all that sort of stuff, and you can't buy a poppy. Another example of the whole cancellation culture too. It's interesting. Sorry, man, I was just thinking about that when you guys were talking about this other bit with the H1B.
Why don't we run a ad reel real quick, Rich, and come back?
Yeah, you got it, man. This episode is sponsored by yours truly. Brothers, if you like me and you take what you put in your body seriously, you'll want to use the Unplugged Alpha supplements. An obsession with engineering higher absorption rates is what sets my line apart from the others. You want to make sure that you absorb as much of the supplements as possible so you don't end up peeing out expensive urine and wasting your money. My supplement line is made in the United States from the highest quality domestic ingredients. And unlike your typical cheap supplements in plastic bottles, only quality supplements ship in dark glass bottles to keep your supplements fresher, longer, and won't seep endocrine disrupting microplastics into your supplements that end up in your body. Nothing is a hard tablet. Everything is in an easily digested, bioavailable capsule. You can filter all products by your goals, including testosterone support, estrogen metabolism, fat burning, sleep support, and performance. Visit www.theunpluggedalpha.com/shop and use the subscribe and save option to get 10% off your recurring supplement orders. Or check out my popular testosterone bundles and save 17%. Guys, if you want to know everything I know today that I wish my dad taught me, start by joining the School of Unplugging. There are over 40 hours of never-before-seen videos in a private classroom that teach you how to create true wealth, create and manage relationships with women stress-free, and optimize your looks, and so much more. There's also a very well-organized discussion board and a members map for networking, along with weekly Zoom calls held by me and my team of experts with backgrounds in strength, nutrition, finance, investing, and entrepreneurship, all for a low monthly membership that you can cancel at any time. Go ahead and visit richcooper.ca, and on the courses tab of the website, you can navigate to the School of Unplugging and get started there. Guys, make sure you check out the rest of my website for my communities, requesting a one-on-one private consultation, or learning about my events. Now let's get on with the show. Let me just grab this real quick because I saw it there. It's hard to verify if the degree is valid and if they have to get recertification once they're here. Well, I'm just glad I don't have to hire or deal with employees and stuff like this.
Only two things I wanted to surface here, and then I'm kind of out of stuff, but I wanted to talk about, and this is not a gleeful segment, but this is something we're going to talk about, and we're going to keep surfacing this. We're going to keep highlighting this because I think it's important. There's two of them we want to share. So Kirsten Eileen Herman-Strang was just killed in a DUI hit and run by a criminal with a long history of driving violations. This is what happens when you let these people back on the street. Apparently, there was a DUI she was riding her bike. This happened actually in St. Petersburg, very close to where I live. She was on an e-bike. She was an avid biker. She advocated for bicycle laws and bicycle safety and, being looked out as vehicles on the roads. She apparently was on the hood of this man's car for something like 8 blocks before he stopped, and then they
Holy
basically peeled her off the hood of the car and she was dead. So here's just a list of his basic rap sheet since April 2020. April 2020, 2020, unlawful speed 30 miles an hour over and greater. January 27th, speeding 69 over the limit. February, a week later, speeding 20 to 29 over the limit. 6 months later, leaving the scene of a crash involving property damage with no insurance. October 4th, 2022, operating an unregistered motor vehicle. September 23rd, 2023, reckless driving reduced from a DUI, possession of marijuana. Not September 24th, 2023, open container / driver possession, more of alcohol. Same day, driving on the wrong side of a divided highway. And then November 19th, 2023, speeding 69 over the limit. So just goes to show, when you're a violent criminal and when you continuously abuse the law, we will let you back out until you kill someone. And then hopefully you learn your lesson, but unlikely. The next one, 22-year-old landscaper shot and killed during an argument with a neighbor over grass clippings. Ohio police say 22-year-old Tanner Staggs was blowing grass when some landed on a neighbor's car. An argument reportedly broke out between Staggs and the neighbor. He was rushed to the hospital and later died. 36-year-old Travis Jackson was charged Friday with 2 counts of murder, 2 counts of felonious assault, and a firearms charge.
So sorry, the landscaper, the kid on top blew leaves or grass clippings on the guy's car and he shot him?
That's what's, after an argument ensued, that's what they're saying happened, yes.
I mean, it's
Dying over
6% of the
grass.
population committing almost 60% of the crime.
We're going to keep showing it. We're going to keep bringing it up.
Fine.
That's why I always say, be lethal, guys. So that way, when
That's
other people are
have to.
trying to do you can do them first.
That's right.
Yeah,
Florida
man.
actually passed I think we might have talked about this a little bit, but
Constitution
I think it's a full open carry now. So it's been constitutional carry for maybe a year, a little over a year, but they didn't pass, but they lifted the ban on open carry. I think that's most counties in Florida. It's not necessarily going into full effect until I think like the 25th. But you should be able to open carry in Florida. It joins, I believe, Texas and a few other states. I think Idaho, Nick, they've got it there as well, open carry. So obviously with the same necessary restrictions in places like schools and churches and things like that. So always be aware of places that are on the no carry list. But at this point, there's just no point if you live in a state where you can't own a firearm to defend yourself to live there anymore. Your life depends on it this point.
What does open carry mean? You can carry your pistol on your hip or you can carry your AR
Yes.
just over your shoulder?
I believe both. Yeah. I mean, there's different rules with
slung across your
AR.
back.
Has to be unloaded, none in the chamber. What are the exact rules, Al?
You can't be brandishing it. Like for Texas, you can have it on your back, slung on your back. You can have it slung across your chest as long as you're not brandishing against someone. But yeah, like.
But can it be loaded? Can you have a chamber round, like a rounded chain, round of the chamber?
Don't get me lying to you. I know I'm not sure if you can have it chambered or not. I'm not sure. And then on the hip, it doesn't have to be concealed carry. Like some states, it's required to be underneath, so you can't see it or it's not printed. But here in Texas, you can have it open and visible. Anytime they mean open carry, it can be visible to the public.
Hmm.
Yeah.
Interesting.
I have to look to see if there's
Barring certain restrictions, naturally.
Yeah.
Yeah,
I know
no,
if you have an open carry pistol, you can have a round in the chamber. So I'm assuming an AR is the same way.
You would think, yeah.
Yeah.
Now, some states have rules like you can't open or conceal carry into a bar if you're going to drink, or, I know our state in Idaho is no firearms in a courthouse, at a school, and I think the third might be federal buildings. There are restrictions.
That sounds about right, yeah.
Yeah.
Churches seem to be okay, but yeah, other than that, like those are the big ones, like federal buildings, schools, and what was the third one? Any place where there's alcohol sold?
Well,
you
some
can't
states
drink.
you can't take it where there's alcohol sold. Other states, I think with Idaho, you can carry, you can carry it. You just can't have alcohol at the establishment if memory serves.
Right.
I carry everywhere and I don't really drink, so it's not an issue.
Yeah.
All right, we got this return of Christianity point, Muff.
Well, I know I was talking about that a little bit with the memorial, and now I've just noticed that I think that there's a I saw a video earlier. I didn't bookmark it or put it up, but there was this sort of leftist liberal woman that was asking, and I think earnestly asking her people, her side, liberals, leftists, what is and I she's attributing the central platform of the right, which you could make an argument is Christian nationalism, right? Like Christianity and then love for America. I think it's far more the latter than it is the former, but I think you could pretty much marry the two together as far as if you watch the speeches at Charlie Kirk's memorial, I think it's pretty clear how many times like God and Jesus and Christianity was referenced as sort of a cornerstone in a country and the moral backbone and things like that. But the question is, like, the leftists don't have anything like this. So, as somebody who, again, has gone on record, I don't think that any religion is true. I don't single out Christianity as the only one. I don't think religions, I don't think there are gods or heavens or hells or anything like that of any kind. But the idea of a moral framework, of a moral backbone being what some people or what most people I'm seeing may need to be a good person or to do the right thing, or if it's something that is going to unite, for lack of a better term, the forces of good against the forces of evil, maybe it's something that is necessary. Maybe I was naive to think that human beings are smart enough to develop their own moral framework because we're all trying to move forward to the same thing. So, maybe it's something that is necessary despite its veracity. And so I just open that up to discussion to the rest of the guys.
Yeah, I always got a thing with that, right? So typically, since we've been raised with Christian morals, we just think killing is wrong in most general situations, right? So, but the thing is, if you have no morals, let's say you're an atheist, right? Because most people, the reason why they follow these rules is because they're afraid they'll go to hell, for lack of a better term, or the equivalent of that, right?
Yeah, but they don't really follow the rules to a T.
No, but it keeps people from murdering people, and for instance, right? So it keeps.
I mean, Christians have murdered a lot of people throughout the world over history, for sure.
Yeah. Oh, absolutely. But but an atheist, that's what I'm saying. Is like, but an atheist, he's like, well, if it benefits me to go out, why would I not do those things? Right. So what forms an atheist's morals? Right. Now,
well, it's individual to the person. I don't know if you're being rhetorical or if you're just asking or.
No, I'm like legitimately asking. So any of your beliefs or morals, typically most beliefs and morals typically stem from religion. Right.
If it's not religion, it's going to be the school system and the media.
Yeah, it would be government.
And,
and or preferential treatment, like whatever benefits you, right? Most people. So if you're an atheist, you don't have a God, then what substitutes that? That belief, if you don't have a belief in a higher power, then yourself substitutes that. So then you will do anything and everything to benefit yourself, which can lead to numerous things. Now, are there people in the religion aspect that will go out and use religion as a means to do whatever they want to benefit themselves? Absolutely. Because that happens all the time. But yeah, that's the only thing I'm asking on that aspect. How would you set a moral foundation, and what would that look like if you're an atheist, not using any Christian morals?
Just don't be an asshole.
Yeah, but
I don't have to believe in a religion or a God or a prophet or anything like that to have a good life, to surround myself with cool people and do awesome shit. I'm not opposed to a return to Christianity. I mean, there's worse things that people could, like, going further left is far worse than going to Christianity, for sure. Like, at least a lot of the stuff in the Bible preaches genuinely good behaviors, right? So if you don't have moral framework, or if you don't have a moral compass, then Christianity is better than that, right? It's better than being the guy that sits in a fucking train and jabs a random girl in the neck 3 times until she bleeds out. It's way better than that. So, I mean, I'm fine for it if it's practice, not like, this stuff over here, like buy my merch. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like that version of Christianity where it's like, The thing that, like, the one thing that put me off, sorry, there's two things that put me off with the Erica Kirk thing. The whole fireworks display, or like it's a WWE sort of event. And then she's talking about forgiving the guy. And then at the bottom, while she's talking about the whole forgiveness, it's like, make sure you buy some Turning Point merch at this memorial. I don't know. But
Yeah.
go towards good, whatever that happens to be for you and for the people around you, I think is just the plausible way to think about it.
I think our society was built in the West on a Christian foundation with Christian morality. And there are many people who call themselves Christian who did terrible, terrible things. So it's not a cure-all. But I mean, you have other cultures that don't have that foundation that seem to be doing okay. And that's all arguable. That's all opinion. I don't live in any other places. I live here. So I would seem that moral base is a good place to start. And I think if, let's just say it's all false and religion's all fake and all that, and it could be, I'm an agnostic myself, but let's say that all the Christian stuff is just made up fairy tales. Well, our society is kind of addicted to that fairy tale as far as creating order. So I think if, that fairy tale were to just go away all of a sudden, and I'm not saying it's a fairy tale, but in this conversation, right, for the argument's sake, if that were to go away, I think there'd be a lot of people who, maybe their moral choices would not be so great. So it's a weird thing. If I were to take the atheistic or the agnostic view, I think the religious type of stringency will fade away into some form of morality, or else society will degrade. I think it'll be as simple as that.
I don't think America is a God-fearing country anymore for the most part, especially in large urban cities. It's more godless than anything.
Yeah, and you can see it, and that's where you can see the U.S.'s decline, right? So the more the U.S. seems to go away from Christianity, the more it declines. And because for like a society like in the West to exist, you have to have high trust, right? You have to have even businesses, right? Everything has to have high trust for it to work, because once you start losing trust in institutions, people, all that stuff, trade goes out the window, commerce goes out the window, quality of life goes out the window. All that starts turning into small tribal like tribal groups, and then they'll end up, because it'd be like one tribe doesn't trust the other tribe, then you're more likely to fight and violence and stuff like that, right? And so and we could kind of see that when the US just keeps going, and you'll see degeneracy goes on the rise. The more you step away from like the religious side of the house, like Christianity, the US is gone, you've seen degeneracy has gone way and way up. And typically when degeneracy goes way up, typically society crumbles shortly after it. It happens to the Roman society. It happens to most societies.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, we're already well down that slippery slope, and I don't think we're going to come back up it anytime soon.
Yeah. Yeah, and that's why I'm, even if I don't believe in it or believe in it, that's why I said, like, if you look at the fruits of Christianity, it bears a lot of good fruit, right? And then it just always shows when you start slipping away from it, it just gets worse and worse with time, the more you slip away from it.
Yeah, I think that's kind of the point that I was making, where it's like, I think that we're getting to a point where it's the truth or veracity of it actually doesn't matter. It's better for people to believe in something. I'm just saying maybe it is better for some people, for most people, to believe in something that isn't true, but it makes people act right, and it limits degeneracy, and it reverses, all of this nonsense. Because, and that's my whole point, where it's like, I used to be of the stance, I'm like, guys, we don't need this. Like, we are perfectly capable of developing our own moral frameworks. Like, we can look and see, like, what is good for people? What is good for me? How do me protecting my people, me making money, me being strong, me being a leader, me being a protector. I am perfectly able to identify. It's like Christianity doesn't have a monopoly on don't kill other people. Just because it says it does, right? So, but I mean, if we want to default and say, oh, well, the 10 Commandments, and we can get into like the Old Testament, we don't have to get into all that, but in any case, I think the point being is that we may be getting to a point where it is better to believe in something that may not be true for the betterment versus like, does the truth actually really matter in this case? Because if the truth is that it's not right or that it doesn't exist or that the atheist view or the rejection of theism is actually correct, I don't think that the vast majority of the population A, could handle that. B, I think that they would just find a replacement for it. I think that people naturally need a leader. I think, Nick, that's probably kind of what you were saying. That's the road we were going down. So if it's not this, it's something else. And it's like, do we want to take the chance of seeing what else is coming down the pipe? Because if it's not this, like, it could be a lot worse.
It'll be tarot cards. It'll be
Right.
people casting spells. It'll be Satanism.
Yeah.
People are going to always turn to something. And the other problem, like for those of us in this room, like our IQ is higher than our age, but there's a lot of people that's just not the case. And unfortunately, I don't believe they have the capacity to make those moral judgments without training wheels.
Yeah, fair enough. I mean, Christianity pushes for no whores. So that's good for women. It's good for family formation. Being respectful, taking care of the neighbors, community, strong community for sure. People don't follow it though. You know, the rule book says not to mark your body with tattoos, and you know, women go out and they tattoo themselves up from top to bottom. So, yeah, it's better than nothing. It's better than the alternatives.
It's better than government telling you how to live.
Indeed.
Let's see how that goes.
That's why the communist, that was one of their first things to go after was religion. There's a reason for that.
Interesting. All right.
I'll add one thing. If you haven't read Marx and Engels, read Marx and Engels. I am not a communist, but you need to know what their plan is because it's in full effect right now.
What's it called? Marx and Engels?
Karl Marx, and I think it's Friedrich Engels. I forget his first name.
Marx. Okay.
Karl Marx. Yeah, they wrote the Communist Manifesto.
Communist Manifesto. Yeah.
Oh, yeah. Okay.
Yeah. It's a lot more complex than people think, and if you want to know what the enemy is trying to do, it's a good place to start. They spell it out for you, and they're doing it now.
All right. Do you guys have anything else before we wrap up?
I'm good.
I just want to show you guys one more thing. I got it queued up. It's not too long. It's only 32 seconds long. Here, let me put it up.
If you like, I can always talk about Bitcoin when you're done, Rich.
Yeah. So we got an ad here, and I find advertising very interesting. I mean, I've always been into marketing. And I came across this ad the other day, which is for, I think, a Mercedes. I'm not mistaken, but check this out.
It's time for an upgrade. Lock his number, boss up in the all-new electric GLC. Get in, mamacita.
Now, keep in mind, I don't believe this is a Mercedes official ad because it says user 66639, unless they ripped it off. I don't know.
Come here, good girl. The all-new electric GLC comes with your very own bestie. Hey, Mercedes.
How may I help you?
Am I a baddie in a Benz?
It's best to ask your lawyer.
Stargazing date night? Yes, please. If he wanted to, he would.
Hey, Pookie, don't forget. Bring the drama, girly pop. Purr. It's time for an upgrade. Block his number.
I don't know. It's got like official print over here from Mercedes, and it's a studio, but who the hell knows? They did a good job on it, though. It's pretty funny that they throw that ad together like that. But that's how they are basically advertising to women. You go, boss girl. You know, there's a cat litter box in the back, and you know, you got your virtual assistant bestie, all that kind of stuff. It's crazy. It's hilarious.
Can't even be mad at him. Can't even be mad. That was perfect. I was like, oh, he's gonna get so many female clients up there because if he sold that, if he did that by military post over here, oh my god, you know how many of these single military ladies would be over there?
Women love being boss girls, man. They just love, they love that strong, independent avatar. So go out and get your electric Mercedes and boss up the guy that you dated last that had a Tesla. Crazy. So here's what's coming up this week. I'm going to do a show on Wednesday. getting into some of the chapters in my new book. You doing ladies' night tomorrow night, Spence? You got talent?
Yep.
Anything else going on?
Yeah, he's going to be hosting too.
Yeah. Okay. Well, thanks for tuning in, guys. Make sure you check out the community. You go visit the website, richcooper.ca. You can take a look at all the various tiers and dig in, man. You know, get in. There's always those guys that are like, hey, you know, I want to be better. I want to do better. I want more out of life. Well, that's how you do it. All right, guys. If you enjoyed that podcast, make sure you visit my website at richcooper.ca to learn more about my courses, my book, The Unplugged Alpha, community, or booking me for private coaching. Also, if you are a Canadian with $15,000 or more of credit card debt and what you are doing right now isn't paying off the balances, then visit totaldebtfreedom.ca and hit get a free quote to see if you qualify to settle your credit card debt for less than you owe today over the next 48 months. Make sure you check out the top pinned comment on YouTube for all the links mentioned during the show. Peace.